First story by Marios King. The air was heavy with anticipation as I stood at the edge of Lake Holidays. The sun had already begun its descent, casting an eerie glow over the placid waters. It was the perfect setting for a horror story, and little did I know, the lake held secrets that would send chills down my spine. As I looked out onto the lake, a shiver ran down my spine. It was said that the lake was cursed, that anyone who dared to swim in its waters would meet a terrible fate. The legend spoke of a malevolent presence lurking beneath the surface, waiting to claim its next victim. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate further. I approached a group of locals who were gathered nearby, hoping to gather more information about the lake's dark history. "Excuse me," I called out, trying not to let my voice tremble. "Can any of you tell me about the stories surrounding Lake Holidays?" The group turned to face me, their expressions filled with a mixture of fear and caution. An elderly man, his face etched with wrinkles, stepped forward and spoke in a hushed tone. "You don't want to go poking around that lake, young one," he warned. "There's evil in those waters. I've seen things you wouldn't believe." Intrigued, I pressed further. "What have you seen? What happened to those who ventured into the lake?" The man's eyes widened, and he began to recount a tale that sent shivers down my spine. "It was many years ago," he began. "A group of friends decided to spend their summer vacation by the lake. They laughed, they swam, and they thought they were invincible. But one by one they vanished, swallowed by the darkness below. I leaned in closer, my heart pounding in my chest. What do you think happened to them?" The man's voice dropped to a whisper. "Legend has it that a vengeful spirit haunts those waters. It preys on the unsuspecting, dragging them down into its watery depths. It feeds on their fear, their anguish, and it won't stop until it claims every last soul." I shuddered, the weight of his words sinking in. "Is there anything that can be done? Can we stop this spirit?" The man's eyes met mine, filled with a mix of despair and resignation. "Some say that if you make an offering to the lake, the spirit will be appeased. But it's a dangerous game. You never know if it'll accept your offering or demand something more." Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I would make an offering to the lake, hoping to quell the restless spirit that dwelled within. Night fell, and I found myself standing at the edge of Lake Holidays once again. In my hands I held a small wooden figurine carved with intricate detail. I took a deep breath, summoning the courage to face whatever lay beneath the surface. "Take this offering," I spoke into the darkness, my voice steady. "May it satisfy your thirst for vengeance. Release those you have claimed and let peace return to this place." Silence hung heavy in the air, and for a moment I wondered if my words had fallen on deaf ears. But then the water began to ripple, a dark figure emerging from the depths. The spirit, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, reached out and accepted the offering. A sense of relief washed over me as the spirit disappeared beneath the surface once more. Had I succeeded in appeasing it? Only time would tell. Days turned into weeks, and Lake Holidays remained eerily calm. The locals spoke of a newfound sense of peace, as if a weight had been lifted from their shoulders. The legends surrounding the lake began to fade, replaced by stories of a brave soul who had faced the darkness and triumphed. As for me, I couldn't shake off the feeling that the spirit still lingered, waiting for an opportunity to return. The lake held its secrets close, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had truly put an end to its reign of terror. One evening, as I stood by the lake, gazing into its murky depths, a voice echoed in my mind. It was a soft whisper, barely audible, but the words sent a chill down my spine. "You may have appeased me for now, but remember, the darkness never truly fades. It waits, biding its time, until the day it can rise again." A cold wind swept across the lake, causing the water to churn and ripple. I knew then that my battle was far from over. The spirit had spoken, and it was a warning I couldn't ignore. As I walked away from Lake Holidays, I couldn't help but glance back one last time. The lake stood there, a seemingly tranquil expanse of water, but I knew the horrors that lurked beneath, and I knew that one day I would have to face them once again. But until that day, the secrets of Lake Holidays would remain hidden, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble upon its dark and twisted past. And when that day came, the true horrors of the lake would be unleashed, forever altering the lives of those who dared to venture near its shores. Story 2 by Henry Burb. I stood at the edge of the lake, my heart pounding in my chest. The old house loomed in the distance, its decaying facade sending shivers down my spine. It was said to be haunted, a place of unspeakable horrors. But curiosity got the best of me, and against my better judgment I decided to explore it. Little did I know that this decision would lead me down a path of terror and unimaginable darkness. I approached the house cautiously, the wind whispering through the trees, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. As I stepped onto the porch, the wood creaked beneath my weight, as if the house itself were groaning in anguish. I pushed open the front door and it swung open with a loud, rusty scream. The interior was shrouded in darkness, broken only by the faint glow of the moon filtering through the cracked windows. I took a hesitant step forward, my flashlight casting long shadows on the walls. The air felt heavy, suffocating, as if it were infused with the lingering presence of something sinister. The house seemed frozen in time, as if the horrors that once took place within its walls had left an indelible mark on its very structure. I swallowed hard, the sound echoing in the silence, and called out into the darkness, "Hello? Is anyone here?" My voice bounced off the walls, but there was no response. I continued deeper into the house, my senses heightened, ready for any sign of danger. The floorboards groaned beneath my feet, and the scent of mildew and decay filled my nostrils. As I entered the living room, I noticed a painting hanging crookedly on the wall. It depicted a serene lake scene, but there was something unnerving about the way the artist had captured it. The water seemed to churn and swirl, as if hiding a terrible secret. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the painting, its twisted beauty drawing me in. Suddenly a voice broke through the silence, causing me to jump in fright. "Beautiful, isn't it?" I spun around, my flashlight beam revealing an old man sitting in an armchair. He wore tattered clothes and his eyes were filled with a haunted wisdom. I stuttered, struggling to find my words. Yes, it's certainly unique." The old man chuckled, a sound that sent a chill down my spine. "Unique indeed. But be careful, young one. This house holds more secrets than you can imagine." I felt a knot form in my stomach as his words sank in. The old man
seemed to disappear into thin air, leaving me alone once again. I shook off the encounter and pressed on, my determination to uncover the truth outweighing my fear. I climbed up the stairs, each step creaking under my weight. The second floor was even more dilapidated than the first, with peeling wallpaper and broken furniture strewn across the rooms. I entered what appeared to be a child's bedroom, its walls adorned with faded posters and toys scattered on the floor. As I examined the room, I noticed a diary lying on a small desk. Curiosity piqued. I picked up the diary and opened it, revealing the shaky handwriting of a young girl. June 12, 1963. The lake whispers to me at night. It calls to me, beckoning me to join it in its depths. I can't resist its pull anymore. Tomorrow I will go to the lake and meet the one who waits. A shiver ran down my spine as I read the chilling words. I couldn't help but wonder what had happened to the girl and who or what awaited her at the lake. I flipped through the pages, each entry more disturbing than the last. The diary spoke of strange occurrences in the house, of whispers in the night, and of a presence that seemed to grow stronger with each passing day. Lost in the diary's pages, I didn't notice the sound of footsteps behind me until it was too late. I turned around, my heart pounding, only to come face to face with a figure in tattered clothing, its eyes empty and devoid of life. It raised a bony finger and pointed towards the window, its voice a low, raspy whisper. "Leave. Leave now if you value your life." I stumbled backward, my fear reaching new heights. Without a second thought, I bolted from the room, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls. As I descended the staircase, the air grew colder and a sense of malevolence seemed to hang in the air. I reached the front door, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped inside the house. "No, please let me out," I cried, pounding on the door with all my might. But the house remained silent, its walls closing in on me like a vice. I ran through the house, desperately searching for another way out, but every door I tried was locked tight. The rooms seemed to shift and change, the layout becoming an impossible maze. It was as if the house itself were alive, taunting me, relishing in my terror. I stumbled upon a hidden staircase leading to the basement, my last hope for escape. The steps were steep and treacherous, but I descended into the darkness. my flashlight the only source of light. The air grew stale and damp, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the narrow corridor. At the bottom of the stairs, I found myself in a dimly lit chamber, lined with rows of cages. As I approached the cages, I realized they were not empty. They housed grotesque creatures, twisted and deformed, their eyes filled with a primal hunger. I gasped, my hand flying to my mouth to stifle a scream. The creatures reached out to me, their fingers curling around the bars as if longing to escape their prison. In that moment, I understood the true horror of the house. It wasn't just haunted. It was a place of unspeakable experimentation, a breeding ground for abominations. The diary I had found belonged to the young girl who had fallen victim to these twisted experiments, her fate sealed by the same horrors that now threatened to consume me. I stumbled backward, my mind racing with a single thought: survival. I turned and sprinted back up the stairs, the creature's agonized screams reverberating through the basement. The house seemed to shake and tremble as I reached the ground floor, the walls groaning in protest. I made one final dash towards the front door, and this time it swung open effortlessly. I burst out of the house, my lungs burning, my heart pounding. I collapsed onto the porch, gasping for breath, tears streaming down my face. The house stood behind me, silent and foreboding, as if it were mocking my escape. As I sat there, broken and shaken, I knew that the horrors I had witnessed would forever haunt my dreams. The lake whispered its dark secrets, and the house would forever stand as a testament to the unspeakable acts that had taken place within its walls. I vowed to warn others, to keep them from falling victim to the same malevolence that had nearly claimed my life. But even as I made my vow, a voice echoed in my mind, a sinister whisper that sent a chill down my spine. You can never truly escape. The horrors will follow you, always. And deep down I knew it was true. The house by the lake would forever remain a place of nightmares, a reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond our sight.